Folks would ask me, well, what's it been like to be on the Hill at Ways and Means? And I said, it was a lot like being a medical intern. I would work around the clock on things I barely understood, supervised by super smart people who had very little time to supervise me.
Well, I don't know if there was actually an average day or an average week, because every day was really different. However, usually what you would do, you'd get in 7:30, 8 o'clock or so into the offices. There was a LA legislative aide who you worked with, and they would tell you what projects they were working on, what were the priorities, what phone calls you had to make. And so you would sort of have those assignments, and you would have your schedule, and you'd work through the day.
When you work in these offices, you're given a very short turnaround for getting information to your boss. And often you hear at 9 or 10 in the morning what you have to have in the briefing book by 4 p.m. And it has to be concise, bulleted, and I would pick up the phone and contact the people I had met during orientation, and they would get me information immediately.
One of the great things about working in the House is that it's a very fast-paced environment. In many ways, there is no average day. Going to briefings and hearings for committees, writing up notes from those and sharing them back with our team. I meet with groups focused on healthcare, anything from patient advocacy groups to healthcare companies, and learn about their issues and then summarize meetings as needed for our team.
I may be printing off nameplates for an event that I've sort of planned, a staff level event or an event that the vice president might be in attendance at, drafting fact sheets that go out from the White House, or I might be putting a memo together to provide a briefing to the vice president on a pressing policy issue.
You get 105 letters from different societies. And what they'd asked me to do is to read all these things, to summarize it in a paragraph, so that the aides could look at it, and then provide my own assessment of what the top 5 best letters and what aspects of the things were thoughtful, so that it could help them form what they felt might be important.
There are a variety of types of things I do every day. Some include monitoring the news. It's really important to know what's going on politically. And we actually summarize the news for the member in terms of our issue area, so in my case, health. And one interesting thing from a leadership office is that we are interested in not only the content of the issue, but also what other offices are thinking about, so we can make sure to support the entire caucus. So my job is then to summarize not only what happened in the meeting, but who said what, so that we know where people are in different issues.
I could have a day where I would meet with 10 different advocacy groups and then also quickly be writing a brief about some bill that Ron needed to vote on, and then also at the same time prepping him for a hearing the next day, and potentially on something that I know very little about. That is exciting. Just being the opportunity to have to learn something quickly and being able to pivot, they can be really busy.
I liked taking constituency appointments. It was a time-consuming part of the day. And I think that staff appreciated having a fellow that could speak the language, knew the culture of the state, and could meet with those individuals, each of whom had a very important issue to talk to the senator about. One day was not like any other day, which was part of the fun of being in a personal office and not knowing what the day-to-day agenda was going to wind up being.